2, 1. And we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 18th episode of the FilmBrony Podcast. I am, of course, Nick Canino, the new manager under this podcast ever since last year. And as always, I'm not alone on here. I got a guest with me right here who started the whole FilmBrony podcast. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Well. So we thought that after movie theaters are being reopened, that this summer season would be way better than 2020 summer movie season. I mean it was, but it's still pretty mediocre. I mean, so far we've had multiple disappointments, shitty sequels to both good franchises and bad franchises, and the actual good movies that came are few and far between.
Yeah, really, and we have a lot to talk about later when we do our 10 worst and best films that Soren and I saw this year so far. So. Yeah, and we'll talk about more of the mediocre slash bad sequels to like franchises later after the summer is over. Hello, Network 98, Tobin Bell and Jose. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey guys.
So let's waste no time. And just get to the usual stuff that we do on the podcast, starting with.
In this rendition of Blu-ray Showcase, my stack is nowhere near as big as usual, since Barnes & Noble had their little Criterion sale, and they're prone to be more expensive than regular Blu-ray. So I have this pretty low stack. Oh, hey, Network 98. Christian was busy with something, so he might come here, he might not.
If he doesn't come here, buddy, just let you know we love you. We still love you, and we still thank you for joining us on this podcast with Soren and I.
Yeah.
So he might be arriving late. He might be here. He might not. Who knows? But if he does come here, I'll let him on. I'll let him on.
All right.
And there he is right now.
Oh.
Hi.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, Don.
Hi.
Yeah, we're just getting started, and so this is Christian, ladies and gentlemen. He's been joining us ever since mid last.
Episode 11.
Yeah, episode 11, and it's always been a fun podcast whenever he's on. So yeah, so all right, enough of this intro stuff. Let's jump right into the Blu-ray Showcase.
All right, first I have what I hear is one of Martin Scorsese's most overlooked, Age of Innocence.
That's a great movie.
Next I have Richard Linklater's Before trilogy.
Those are great movies. And hello, Nicholas Lee. Welcome to the chat. And yeah, man. I know about our chat last night. And I'm it's just. I'll talk more about that on the next podcast. But on the next podcast in August. But boy, am I going to have a lot to say.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm wearing my Walter Sobchak shirt.
Huh.
Nice.
Anyways, The Deer Hunter in 4K. Next, I have Hunger by Steve McQueen.
Great movie.
In Bruges. Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events.
I loved it.
Very good film.
The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Minari.
One of the best movies I saw last year. And I have this movie right here.
And speaking of one of the best of the last year, Nomadland.
Yeah. I still got to get that Blu-ray. I'm probably gonna get it for my birthday.
All right, and last and probably least, Waterworld.
Oh yeah, one of the biggest box office bombs of all time.
At least it has a director's cut that is better.
Yeah, that's why I got this specific release, because it contains the extended Ulysses cut.
I saw
Anyways,
Nicholas, about the early screening you saw for the Suicide Squad. I'm not gonna lie, I'm intrigued. Very, very intrigued to see it.
Yeah, me too. And Network 98, Whiplash is a fucking incredible movie. One of my favorites for sure.
One of the best films of the last decade.
And my dad's personally excited for King Shark because he's a Stallone and Shark fan.
Nice.
Adrian!
Oh, man.
Now,
All right.
stay off the calm. Anyways, onto our shit ton of movie reviews, starting with
we got a shit ton of movies to cover here today.
Yeah, starting with a movie called Limbo. Now, most of you may not have heard of this movie. It's a British drama that is a character study on Emma Mastery, who seeks asylum on the Scottish Islands, but shows promise with his supporting family and his skills as a musician. When I saw the critical praise it got, it seemed intriguing, and the hype is definitely real. This is so far the most overlooked gem of the year. The acting is superb, especially the main actor. The music and soundtrack are soothing to say the least, and I fully appreciate both the visual style and the slow burn and quirky tone this movie is going for. Oh, hey, Tobin Bell.
Hello, Tobin Bell.
One more roll.
So if you're looking for a Yorgos-esque drama that doesn't care how weird it is, I'd say go seek this one out when you can. This is truly a hidden gem of this year. 10 out of 10.
I absolutely love this movie. I remember the first time I saw it in theaters, there were some things I did miss out on, but so I had to wait until 3 more months to watch it again. And now that I watched it again, it's one of the best movies I've seen this year. I absolutely loved everything about this movie. The story, the acting, the writing, the directing, the humor, the characters, the music, the cinematography, the editing, the pacing, and the offbeat humor too. It features one of the best breakthrough performances of the year by Amir El Masri and Fikret Bahai. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced those names, but not only this is a feature though, as well as being funny and quirky, but it's also one of the most beautiful, mesmerizing, and riveting films I've seen this year. I absolutely love this movie. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year, and by far the most overlooked film I've seen this year so far. I originally get this a 9.5, but then the more I thought about this movie, the more I was like, the movie is so well made. It's going to probably get overlooked by so many people. 10 out of 10. I love this movie.
Well, today is my dad's birthday.
Happy birthday to your dad, Christian.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll tell him that.
Okay, so my next movie review is A24's latest Zola, and this was a trippy ride. So it's based on this infamous Twitter feed, because anything can be turned into a movie nowadays. Cough, Battleship Cough. About a road trip gone wrong involving pimps, a strip club, and even a murder and attempted suicide. And with this sort of style that's trying too hard to be hip and cool in the Twitter age, it's safe to say this movie isn't for everyone. But as someone who can appreciate the experimental, I can actually get by it. The two female leads are charismatic. The cinematography and editing are something to behold, and the soundtrack is really something. Like I said, not for everyone, but certainly a hell of a time. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
I saw the movie in theaters, and I absolutely love this movie. My only nitpick, my only small gripe I do have with the film is that the ending wasn't executed well. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I just found the ending to be just underwhelming, to say the least. There was so much they like. I did wish they could have had a few more minutes into the film, but I can understand why, because of budget reasons. But other than the ending, I absolutely love this movie. Again, great story, great script, great directing. The acting is great. Taylor Page is fantastic in this movie, and so is Riley Keough. The soundtrack is great. The cinematography is great. The editing is great. It's very well paced. There are some funny moments. There are some great humorous moments in it. And overall, it was just one of the best movies I've seen this year so far, and another great filmography in my best of A24 list. 9.5 out of 10, or an A. I absolutely love this movie, and it's one of the best I've seen this year so far. Also, for ask question, what's your favorite movie with me in it, Tobin Bell? I have to say,
he made a cameo in Goodfellas.
Yes, your cameo appearance in Goodfellas.
One of my therapists, one of my dad's friends was in Goodfellas.
Oh, wow.
She was
really
one of my therapists.
Wow.
Must have been in one of the dining scenes.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really. Anyways, my next movie review is a movie that I was kind of iffy on at first, but the more I thought about it, the better it got for me. And that is Pixar's latest, Luca. When I first saw
Luca so much.
When I first saw Luca, I was kind of disappointed. I thought it was yet another mediocre and trite film from Pixar with its bland, predictable story. But the more I thought about this movie, the more I thought, maybe they weren't trying to make another Inside Out of Soul. Maybe they were just trying to make a simple fable in the lines of Studio Ghibli or something. And after thinking about that, I actually like this movie more than before. The animation is top-notch as always, and the characters are extremely unlikable. While there are some aspects to the story that need some tweaking, such as the main bully bad guy, and some scenes that can be predictable or far-fetched, this is still an adorable animated movie that you should check out. So, 8 out of 10.
For me, I really like this movie. It's one of the better films I've seen this year so far. The animation is great. The writing was very good. The directing was great. The voice acting was great. Jacob Tremblay was fantastic as the voice of Luca. But it's like but as much as I liked Luca and oh god, I can't remember the other character's name.
Alberto,
thank you. As much as I like those two, it's Julia that really stole the show for me.
Maya Rudolph's character.
Yes, she stole the show for me. I absolutely loved her character in the film. Actually, Christian, Maya voiced Daniela.
Oh, I got confused.
No worries.
I really haven't
no
seen
worries.
it.
No worries. She is voiced by Emma Berman. Julia. Emma Berman, you did a wonderful job voicing Julia. Seriously. The rest of the voice acting is great. The soundtrack is wonderful. The editing is very good. And what really got me to push this from being an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10 was the emotional ending, and how this movie set up this message not only about friendship, not only about love and friendship, but how no matter where your friends are, whether they're far away from you, they'll always think of you and remember you.
Yeah. And it's the second Pixar movie not to have John Ratzenberger voice a character.
Yeah, I know.
And he was supposed to be like the Stan Lee of Pixar. with all his cameos.
Yeah.
Did you know that he also made a cameo in Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That makes him the first Tears actor to appear in Star Wars.
Yeah. Overall, it's no Soul or Inside Out or Up or the Toy Story films, but I still found Luca to be a very, very enjoyable film, and definitely one of the better movies I've seen this year so far. 9 out of 10.
And before I get to my next review, here's your profile pick of the month.
Nice.
Can I get waffles? Sorry, I'm giving them to my friend Shrek. Who's Shrek? He's green. Oh, Zinnis!
I gotta say, Invader Zim's gotta be Nickelodeon's most overlooked show. That or Making Fiends.
And today is Richard Horvitz' birthday.
Huh.
Nice. Also, Network 98 late night talk shows nowadays. I don't really care for them, honestly.
That's why Johnny Carson reigns supreme.
Anyways, on to my next movie review, and that is The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Which I
gotta say, this was pretty good for a Sony animated film. While it can drag on a few times, and some of the stylish choices can be a bit much for a major motion picture, I was completely on board with the overall family dynamic and was fully immersed into the humor and Lord and Miller's creativity. And if this doesn't save Sony animation, I don't know what will. 7 out of 10.
I probably like this movie even more. I do agree with you that it does suffer through a couple pacing issues here and there, and it does go for those cliches and predictability as well, especially with like what happens in some scenes. But man, I had a great time watching this movie. I could see why some people wanted me to watch this movie, because it was one hell of a blast from start to finish. The animation, let me just start by saying the animation is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen put to film this entire year. The way they use like the CGI, the way they animate some of the 3D animation with some 2D visuals, that was amazing. That was amazing. The script was fantastic. The story, although cliched and predictable, was interesting throughout and emotionally investing. The directing was very good. The voice acting was great, and the soundtrack was great. And so was the editing. And I got to talk about the humor in the film, because I'm not the biggest fan of pop culture humor, pop culture like reference humor, unless it's done well. Here, this is one of those times where it does it so well, because it fit the story. It fit the story so well. And there's this. Speaking of the humor, there's this one scene where they're at the mall, and then all of a sudden, yes,
the fucking giant Furbies.
Oh my god! That was one of the funniest scenes I've seen put to film this entire year.
What you were saying?
Especially with how they provided the subtitles for the Furbies dialogue, like not only letting him speak like like The pain makes me strong. I will avenge my fallen children. The pain only makes me stronger. Then so be it. Let the dark harvest begin.
Yeah, and another funny scene I have to say is when the soccer mom goes Kill Bill on the robot's asses.
Oh, I remember that. That was so funny.
That and Shrek are two good examples on using pop culture references right because they work for the story.
Yes. Yes. Also, my favorite Pixar movie, easily the first Toy Story film.
Well, mine is The Incredibles.
That's a great movie too. Overall, while I don't think it's the best animated film of the year, nor the best film of the year, as some people say it is, this was still a one hell of a ride from start to finish that I really enjoyed from start to finish. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's relatable, and it was such a great time. This is one of the better movies I've seen this year. 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
All right, so our next movie review is the latest Marvel film, Black Widow, and this was a pretty fun comeback for Marvel on the big screen. There were some issues I had with it in terms of pacing and some of the writing for the villains and the family dynamic. Plus, I think this movie would have resonated with me more if it came up before Endgame for obvious reasons. It's still a well-directed spy thriller and a decent enough send-off to Black Widow, so I'm giving it a 7 out of 10.
Well, one thing I didn't like is that Taskmaster was gender swapped. Because Taskmaster, he's supposed to have this Brooklyn accent, and I'm supposed to steal all your moves.
That was very well done, but it's just like, but Taskmaster felt very weak. Like she like all of a sudden like she was just there, and then all of a sudden she just stood there like silent. Like she didn't get any dialogue.
I mean, it's not as bad as it's not as bad as Barakapool and X-Men Origins, but it's still yeah.
Not to mention Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, because what was the point of having his face shown?
Oh yeah, that was a dick move on their part.
Yeah, and the Inspector Gadget movies are kind of two of my guilty pleasures, to be honest. But yeah.
Fair enough. I respect your opinion. So as for me, I'm pretty much in agreement. I'm pretty much on board with on the same page with Soren. While I did have a problem with the writing, the pacing, the length, and the villain, I still had a good time with this movie. With this movie, even if it's not the best thing that Marvel has put out, it's still a good movie nevertheless. By the way, Florence Pugh was easily the biggest highlight of the whole film. She stole the show. She's the reason she's one of my favorite actresses working today. Overall, good movie, but not great. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, and my next movie review is it's a Nicolas Cage movie known as Willy's Wonderland, and this was a hell of a lot of fun. Nicolas Cage as this silent janitor forced to work on this abandoned indoor amusement park, and having to fight these Five Nights at Freddy's rejects to survive. It's a bit stupid and cliche, but the lore is interesting, and I can appreciate some of the production value, like the animatronics and the soundtrack. So, Willy's Wonderland, 7 out of 10.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage, I think that his script for the Superman movie he was about to be in should be repurposed into an animated movie by DC.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, really. And I didn't see Willy's Wonderland. I did see Pig, which we'll talk about next time on the next podcast. But I'll talk a lot about it when we get to it.
And Nicholas Lee, I didn't see Masters of the Universe Revelation. In fact, I haven't seen any other He-Man things. So
Me neither.
Yeah, but I remember growing up with it, and By the Power of Grayskull was referenced in Homestar Runner, where Strong Bad gets the plunger and says, "By the power of Brown Skull."
Nice.
All right, so next review, Army of the Dead. I had fun with this movie. It's definitely too long with its overabundance of characters, but good cast, visual style, and imagination. 7 out of 10. And it's not quite as good as Zack Snyder's previous fare, which I'll get to in my top 10 best of the year so far.
Right. Right. I'm like Black Widow. I'm on the same page with Soren. My biggest complaint with the film is that why did it have to be 2.5 hours long? I mean, there are some things that are left unexplained or just never brought up again. So what was the point of making it 2.5 hours long? I think it would have been better if it was. I think this movie wouldn't be like this. This movie wouldn't be too bad if it was 2 hours long. Like there was no reason for this film to be 2.5 hours long. That was just unnecessary. And because of that, it does suffer through a couple pacing issues as well. And the writing also could have been a lot better. And some of the character development could have also been better too. But despite my problems with the film, I still had a good time with this one. 7 out of 10. Good job, Zack Snyder.
And those who don't know, Snyder had previous zombie film experience with the Dawn of the Dead remake.
That was a good movie, and James Gunn co-wrote the movie. Did you know that?
Well,
yes.
He did, but it was secretly rewritten by other writers, according to an interview.
Interesting. To answer your question, Nicholas Lee, yes, I know. Yes, I know Disney Channel. Yes, Disney Channel does suck nowadays, but I did like a few of their shows back then. My favorite still being The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
My pal Jacob is a big Phineas and Ferb fan.
I love Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, I do too. In fact, that was probably the last Disney Channel show I ever saw, though I do hear shows like The Owl House and Gravity Falls are good.
That's what I heard too.
Anyways, my next movie review is Fatherhood. It's a cliched family drama, but Kevin Hart's against type performance makes it worth seeing. 7 out of 10.
Nice.
My next movie review is one of those movies that Nick and I are gonna disagree on. That is The Forever Purge.
Oh boy.
Ah, boy. As Mr. Beefy from Lil Nicky would say.
Also, Nicholas Lee, I did see a couple episodes of Dog with a Blog, and it is garbage.
Really, my only experience with that show is when I joined one of my friends' Dog with a Blog YouTube poop collab, but that's pretty much about it. But anyways, The Forever Purge. You're probably gonna kill me for this, but this wasn't really that bad. Well, it's not great per se because it still had its over-the-top moments and the villains were pretty underdeveloped. It felt like the main characters are likable enough for you to want to survive, and there are some creative kills and aspects of the cinematography I can appreciate. However, while it is the best of the series so far, it's not really saying much, and it probably won't change your mind of this series if you hate it at all. So, as for me, a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and this is a disagreement that Soren and I have because I hated this movie. But to be fair, I will say this. This is better than the last two Purge movies. It's better than the prequel, the first Purge. Not the original first Purge. Not the original. The prequel, the first Purge. And this is better than my least favorite, which was the Purge election year, or as Jerome would call it, the turd-erection year. The turd-erection year. Just, why? Because the 5 leads who play their characters do give out good performances, and the cinematography was very good. And there's this one cool action sequence when there's this one cool action sequence that was done in one take. As soon as I saw that, I was like, damn, you actually did that in one take. That's impressive.
You know who else does one takes? Luke Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But other than that, I hated this movie. I really hated this one. The story was shit. The script is horrendous. It's one of the worst written films I've seen this year. I've seen and heard in the film this entire year, especially with the way the dialogue was written. Jesus Christ. Oh.
Here's the Lobo sound effect.
This is crap. That sums up my feelings for that. Oh my god, that was funny. But another thing, it's poorly directed. The rest of the acting is terrible. Will Patton is horribly wasted in this movie, but the actor that played this sort of redneck villain, good God. Like, he was so over the he is so over the top and just downright annoying, is that even a cartoon character would call bullshit on his acting. It's that bad. And I hated the villains in the film. Like I said, not only did they feel like cartoon characters, but they also feel poorly developed. The music is terrible. The editing is terrible. It also throws in cliches up the butt with this like there's also another thing. Like, when I mention cliches, like instead of like it's like the same exact story, but instead of having it be 12 hours of the Purge, let's just have it be let's just have the Purge like take place forever.
Which doesn't make any sense, by the way.
Yeah, really. It does not make any sense. Now, I get it. Yes, it does have a good premise, but here's the problem. That would never happen in real life. If it did, there would be lawsuits up the ass.
Not to mention, the laws of the Purge are pretty inconsistent. I mean, it claims that you're allowed to commit any crime for 12 hours. Yeah, it says, oh, by the way, you can't use, like, Generation 4 weapons or above. And also, it says that all crime is legal, including murder. Why is everyone just sold to murder? Why doesn't anyone just like raid a store and sell it on eBay or something?
There's a lot of murder and murder.
Yeah, really. I don't know who the worst character of Dog with a Blog is, Nick. I hated all the characters, but I just can't name one. Please. And the way it ended too. Which they're already doing the 6th Purge movie already. God help me. Oh, and 2 more things that really pissed me off about the film. Not only were the action sequences like so poorly developed, since you can't even tell what the hell was even going on in those scenes, but this is something that really pisses me off in horror films. The fact that they also like had the audacity to use false alarm jump scares. How many times do we have to say it, guys? Jump scares are not scary unless you build tension. You can't just do false jump scares or like jump scares in general just for the sake of it. You have to build tension.
Signs did it well because of the alien, and that tension made me so terrified that I felt like I was getting abducted.
Yeah, really. Oh my god. I am dreading the day that I do review the sixth Purge movie. And I knew 100% they said it wasn't going to be the final film, despite how much they meant it. We know these guys. They just want to make more of these just to please the hardcore fans. And look, I know there are fans of this franchise. What?
And you know why? And you know why else they want to make more of these movies? Because they got to have money.
Of course.
Of course. But yeah. Also, when this is reminding me of like, Nicholas Lee. Yeah, they should. They should make it high budget so it can flop. Look, I know there are fans of this series, and if you're one of those people, that's fine. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But you gotta realize that why some people like myself don't, because of how illogical, inconsistent, and just downright idiotic the film is. It's good that you like the movie, and it's all right to disagree. It's all right to disagree. If you enjoyed it, good. I just wish I was on the same boat. Also, what?
You know what? Even though I like this one and the Purge Anarchy, I wouldn't really consider myself a quote-unquote fan of the series because the first one was really bad. Elixir was unwatchable. The first Purge was even worse outside that one hallway sequence, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, they should just stop making these movies.
Yeah, they should. They really should. Also, the really thing that really hurt the movie the most is that when it's reminding me of the real life politics that we had last year, especially with something that I do not want to talk about other than like the coronavirus and stuff, as well as like white supremacists and stuff, that's not a good thing. Yeah, overall, this is one of the worst movies I've seen this year so far. It's idiotic, it's forgettable, it's not scary, it's just downright inconsistent as hell. 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10.
You have great taste, Nick.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways,
Thanks.
no problem. My next couple movie reviews. First off is Wish Dragon. I did have some fun with this movie, even though the script does rely too much on the success on Disney's Land, so 6 out of 10. Next up is Yesterday. Again, super cliche and predictable, but fine enough fare for the family, and that's also a 6 out of 10. My next movie review.
Oh, no.
Spirit Untamed.
Oh my god. That was so mediocre.
Such a bland and forgettable disappointment. Nice animation, but stock characters and a soundtrack that disses the original film's amazing soundtrack with pop songs that would make Hannah Montana puke. Just watch the original instead. 5 out of 10.
I'm pretty much in agreement with him. Good animation, good voice acting, and I actually didn't think the soundtrack was all that bad, but it was pretty disappointing compared to like how they like advertised this. It's just a bland and forgettable movie. 5 out of 10.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna see it because the first one made it a very tough act to follow.
Yeah, really.
Kind of like how Sly 2 made the rest of the Sly games tough to follow, especially Thieves in Time.
At least we can all. You first.
I'm sorry. Nicholas Lee had a question. What's your opinion on Doug Walker? Fuck Doug Walker.
And at least there's one thing we can agree on. Spirit Untamed. At least it's not as bad as We'll get to that piece of shit later.
Oh, man, I got it. You and I have a lot to talk about, man.
But first, a couple more movie reviews. My next one is Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. Once in a while, you come across a movie that's so bad and awful, but you can't help but enjoy it. Films like Ed Wood's filmography, Troll 2, The Room, The Fanatic, etc. Films that you can just pop in and laugh at their stupidity. To me, this is one of those movies. Kristen Wiig and Annie Momolo's chemistry is cheesy and predictable, but they're just so endearing that you can't help but watch. And the overall presentation is beyond bonkers, with its vibrant colors, corny musical numbers, and product placement and/or pop culture references that come out of nowhere and go nowhere. So while this movie is not good by any means, I still kind of recommend this movie as one of my new guilty pleasure movies. So therefore, it gets my ironic enjoyment rating of -4 out of 10. Yeah, I follow. Yeah, I follow Gel Apocalypse's style of ratings.
Oh my god! -4 out of 10. -4 out of 10. That's good.
My next movie review is Coming to America. Well, Eddie Murphy posted off, this is just a lame retread of the first one, just swapping funny cultural commentary with cheap jokes and annoying characters. Just watch the first one again, 4 out of 10. My next movie review...
I read that Wesley Snipes must have had a fun time in that, and he liked my impression of Blade on Instagram.
Nice!
Huh. Good for you. All right, speaking of franchises that have gone downhill.
Oh no! Oh no!
Fast and Furious 9.
Oh!
At the marathon, the Fast and Furious movies for the past few days, it's safe to say that the franchise has gone through its ups and downs, but they've mostly gotten better since Fast 5. And while Hobbs and Shaw may have jumped the shark a little too much, I was still optimistic about this next movie. Until I actually saw this piece of shit. Guys, this is where the franchise officially nuked the fridge. I mean, say what you will about the insane stunts in 5 to 8, but at least they were somewhat grounded in real physics and featured the characters in real peril. Here, it's like physics and peril were the 85th priority. I mean, cars with magnets causing other cars to fly around. Characters who don't even get a scratch even in life-threatening situations. And yes, they do bring up in the movie, but it just comes out of nowhere. And there's even a scene where the two most annoying characters literally try my card to take down a fucking satellite.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And there was this weird retcon that Han is still alive compared to that he died in Tokyo Drift.
You'll get to that in a little bit. Because I gotta ask, if Dom had an evil brother this whole time, why wasn't he mentioned at least once in the previous movies? And what was with the random flashbacks? Plus, why do young Dom and his brother look nothing like Vin Diesel and John Cena respectively? Why are Tyrese and Ludacris so annoying in this movie? Why are Helen Mirren and Charlie Stern in this movie if they do nothing? If Han actually survived a brutal crash in the third movie, why did it take this long for him to appear? Are they actually serious with hinting at Brian O'Connor's return to the franchise? In spite of Paul Walker's death at the end of the Furious 7, is the poor Mitsubishi successful in communicating the imminent data to the other passengers? Is the boy injured? Why is the Sensibu sad? Is it new wood or aluminum?
This is quite disappointing. I'm going to have to speak to Bob about this.
Honestly, Soren, that's like one of the funniest rants you've done.
So yeah, this was one of the most overwhelming and disappointing movies of the year so far. While not quite as bad as Tokyo Drift, this makes it perfectly clear that Universal keeps trying to top the last movie with these installments. And while Fast and Furious and while Fate of the Furious and Hobbs and Shaw were unnecessary, they were at least entertaining enough to make you forget that they were mostly made to make as much money as possible. This movie, on the other hand, is so lackluster and stupid that it's apparent that this reasoning was the case. 4 out of 10.
All right, so I'll try to not step on too many toes because I know there are some people that do like Fast and Furious 9, including Network 98. I'm glad you liked it, man. But I'm sorry. Fast 9 was one of the most idiotic and just forgettable and inconsistent movies I've seen this year. Honestly, it's my least favorite of the Fast and Furious franchise. This is at a point where they just did not give a shit whatsoever and just threw like a lot of continuity errors out the door. Throw a lot of continuity out the door from like the last like Fast and Furious movies, like Fast 5, Fast 6, Fast Furious 7, The Fate of the Furious, and Hobbs and Shaw. It's like they threw a lot of continuity out the window and just made it look like, oh, no, nobody died in those movies. No, nobody died. Hans who originally died in this one, originally died in the third movie. Well, we're gonna bring him back for this one. By the way, the reasoning for the reveal of why Han was still alive was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen put in a motion picture this entire year. It was just as stupid as the reason for Palpatine's return in The Rise of Skywalker. Just as stupid.
Well, at least for the latter, that was resolved in a book where it's simply a clone.
Yeah, but it still didn't make any sense. It still didn't make any sense. The only redeeming things I found in the film were that I know, Soren, you'll probably disagree with me with this, but Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson were the only actors that did give out decent performances in the film. All right, Eddie, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Eddie, I'm glad you like this movie, man. I just wish I was on the same boat. Anyway, the only positives I did find with the film is that I know you're going to disagree with me with this, Soren, but Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris were the only actors that gave out decent performances, and they had good chemistry in the film too. I do like Justin Lin's directing with the way he directs like the action scenes and stuff, and with the way he directs the stunts. Also, the soundtrack is pretty decent, even though I'm not a fan of rap, but it is pretty decent, and the cinematography is pretty good. That's about it, though. Everything else was just downright bad. It's just...
Say family again! Say family again! I dare you! I double dare you, Mother Fletcher! Say family one more time!
Who do I think is the worst pop star of the 2010s? That's a tough call because there are two I had in mind, which are like Justin Bieber and there was another one I also had in mind, but I can't remember. But if I were to guess, Justin Bieber's the worst pop star of the 2010s.
Well, he shouldn't be confused with Justice Beaver, a crime-fighting beaver from The Office.
Just so you know, guys, my next two movie reviews are so bad that I gotta get myself a refill on my iced tea. So I'll be right back.
All right. So while Soren is gone, I'll tell some people what was wrong with this movie. The rest of the things that were wrong with this. Yeah, it's just I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. Sorry.
That's okay.
Again, I'm not a big like K-pop person. I just like classic rock. And just classic pop. classic pop.
Yep.
I'm all for 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s stuff, and the 90s stuff too. So anyway, back to what I was saying about this. So the story is not only inconsistent, but okay. Where was the story in this? Like in the last, like say what you want about Tokyo Drift, but at least it had a story. Inconsistent? Yes. But at least it had a story. Fast 9, though, did not have a story whatsoever. The script is terrible. The rest of the acting, minus Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson, everyone else is terrible. Vin Diesel, look, I love you, man, but you were really shallow in this. I'm sorry. Helen Mirren, Kurt Russell, Charlize Theron, and Michelle Rodriguez are horribly wasted in this movie. But the worst performance in the film easily goes to John Cena. Oh my god.
All right,
Don't get me started on when they go to
What the hell was that?
It was the Space Corps from Portal 2 who yells space.
What?
Yeah.
All right,
Wow.
I'm back. What did I miss?
All right. I'm just continuing to explain what I hated about this movie. Yeah, John Cena was easily the worst thing in the film, and it was just like, oh my god, he's trying to. I did this sort of reenactment thing. I took some inspiration from Who Framed Roger Rabbit in this one scene. Where Roger keeps messing up, and I did something like this. I was doing something like this. Cut! What the hell was wrong with that take? Let me give you Tyrese. Let me give you Ludacris. You were great. You were perfect. You were better than perfect. But this John Cena guy, he keeps acting like he keeps making impersonations of Stallone. John, what's this? My impression of Stallone. My impression of Stallone. So, Cena, look at this script. It's like you're supposed to act dramatic, not act like Stallone. Can we lose the playback, please? You're just killing me. For crying out loud, John, how many times do we have to do this damn scene? I'm sorry, I can't take this. It's not a mess. Clean this set out. Get him out of here, or deal up with it. Lose the lines. Say lunch. Just get me out of here.
At least the Suicide Squad is redeeming both his and Sylvester Stallone's career.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that one. I know I went over the top with it, but it's just like his acting in the film is just terrible. He's so shallow. He's so wooden, and it's just. Oh. And also the thing with his Jacob character, they didn't. When in the bleeding hell did they mention Jacob in the last 8 of the Fast and Furious movies?
I mean, I get that. I get the idea that John Cena has been shunned in favor of his brother, but still, not even one mention.
Yeah, really. I mean, if he did have a brother, then he should just mention it. No, Nicholas Lee. It's not worse than Last Blood, but it's just still.
I haven't seen the Rambo movie, so I can't say.
Well, you should know that Stallone returned as Rambo for Mortal Kombat 11 alongside Keith David as Spawn and Peter Weller as RoboCop. My Power Trip as the Joker.
I could not understand. Oh, and Eddie, to answer your question, no, I could not understand anything that Cardi B was even saying at all. She was terrible.
She sounds like Riley Freeman from the Boondocks.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really. Which I'm gonna play that clip later. Which I'm gonna play one of the clips from the Boondocks later when we rant on this one film. which we're going to get to in a little bit. But, also, not only is... Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. That made the series jump the shark or nuke the fridge. Where they go into space!
Yeah.
Pigs in space! Cars in space!
That was so poorly handled. And if it was handled well, then I would forgive it. But it wasn't. It served no purpose whatsoever.
I think the writers did that because they took fans joking they should go in space seriously.
It's just, that was so pathetic. Oh, and Eddie, I love Shea Frillas.
Yeah, he's an awesome reviewer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Really. Anyway, it's so bad. This is just one of the worst. This is not only my least favorite of the Fast and Furious franchise, but it's one of the worst movies I've seen this summer. Oh, and the ending. That's my best way I would describe this ending.
Paul Walker is rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah, really. Where they brought back Brian O'Connor. Like, are you kidding me?
That's disrespectful to Paul Walker.
It is! And this makes the whole Fast and Furious franchise completely pointless because of that. If Saw and Jurassic World went to space, that would be so stupid.
Yeah, and...
Yeah, really.
And the Brian O'Connor thing, it's like making another Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie after Logan, because that was such a good ending, but what's the point of making another one with him in it?
Yeah, really. It's no sense.
He did appear in Deadpool 2, but that was a joke. That was a joke cameo.
Yeah, good joke.
Exactly. Yeah, easily one of the worst of the summer. 3 out of 10.
As for my next movie review before the main event, Joe Wright's Woman in the Window.
I heard
this movie is just
one. This
movie is just terrible. Awful acting, unlikable characters, pretentious filmmaking, and a story that's just laughable. If you want any more on why this movie blows, watch my video on where I didn't do my traditional movie review. I made a video called Thoughts on The Woman in the Window, where in my head I expressed why that I didn't want to review it, when really I was reviewing the movie in my head. So obviously this is taking inspiration from Chris Stuckmann's Paranormal Activity 5 review and Doug Walker's Baby Geniuses reviews. So just watch Rear Window and just W instead. 2 out of 10.
And now, oh God, we get to this. And folks, I'm joining Soren for this because he and I saw the same film. Yeah, I did not see Descendants. I refuse to see that. And The Purge went to space. That would also be stupid as well.
In 1994, Jeffrey Katzenberg formed DreamWorks Pictures along with his 2 friends, Steven Spielberg and David Geffen, after he felt that Disney has become a corrupt business solely bent on making money, which it didn't really become until decades later, but that's besides the point. From then, they have created some of the most widely regarded movies at that time, such as Saving Private Ryan, Beauty, All Famous, and Castaway. Katzenberg, being a Disney veteran himself, specifically wanted to produce animated films to prove to Disney that animation can be more than just kid-friendly musical films and be something special. Thus, he oversaw the creations of such classics as Ants, The Road to El Dorado, Shrek, and arguably the magnum opus, The Prince of Egypt, all of which had breathtaking animation, wonderful characters, and excellent balance of comedy and drama.
But what The Road to El Dorado did not do well was during its troubled production, it had misleading marketing. Not to mention that a lot of people involved weren't happy with it.
And welcome aboard, Barbarian Page. You're just in time for the main event. Anyways. However, after Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron and Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas failed to make back their costs, DreamWorks was in a bit of a slump. They saw that ever since Shrek broke new ground for animation and even won the first Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, they were like, hey, Shrek was a success. What if we made all our movies like Shrek? Computer animations, pop culture references / potty humor, and with all suckers to help sell the movie. And thus, they have completely reinvented themselves with films like the Shrek sequels, Shark Tale, the Madagascar series, B-Movie, Turbo, and the Trolls franchise, all with varying degrees of success. Sure, they occasionally made a dramedy masterpiece like Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, and Rise of the Guardians, but they were few and far between, and clearly not what DreamWorks wants its image to be. So, why did I give you that little AP history lesson for you, dear viewers? Because I want to explain how they went from making some of the most widely regarded animated films of all time to a complete fucking joke at this point, which all leads us to this. The first Boss Baby from 2017 was hands down the worst film at that time. It was annoying, it was grating, it was manipulative in its message, and that somehow it was a massive success with over $500 million and even a freaking Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature, especially over films that got critical praise like the Lego Batman movie and Cars 3.
And it also snubbed fellow DreamWorks animation film Captain Underpants, which is better.
Yeah, that's also a great movie.
Thus, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Thus, Boss Baby led to an ongoing cartoon series on Netflix and this sequel.
It was only a matter of time before this piece of shit showed up. Showed up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm here to tell you that this sequel, Family Business, is a cinematic abomination. This movie's shittiness is legendary. This movie is so bad that I haven't watched out of a movie this speechless since I watched Avengers Infinity War. And that was a movie that was intended to make me speechless. So, why does this movie fail to be cinema? Well, that's what you're here to find out now, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yup.
First of all, this is a complete rehash of the first movie. There's this guy who's imaginative and happy-go-lucky and having a loving family, but this is talking baby who comes into his life and tells him that he has to go back to baby court to stop its corrupt and evil business and who wants to threaten traditional family values. But is it different? Oh yeah. Instead of his younger brother being the talking baby, instead it's his daughter. And his younger brother is all grown up since this takes place decades after the original, and they haven't spoken to each other in years. But that's okay. The daughters brought them back together and turned them right back into babies. Well, Tim is a young man still, but you get the idea. Just so that they can reenact the exact same story arc as the first movie, where they can't stand each other at first, but had to learn to work together and accept one another. Gee, manipulative muffs! And instead of the first movie's villain who wants to replace babies with puppies, this villain instead wants to take parents out of the equation because fuck authority, right? What kind of villain implies that? The characters are even more... hold on. There we go. The characters are even more annoying than the first. Like I said, the protagonist and his brother, voiced by Guilt Trip James Morrison and Alec Baldwin as himself, go through the exact same story arc as the first movie. And, to make things worse, both actors sound like they're just hanging up because, hey, it'll keep the children in the audience entertained, which, newsflash, isn't gonna fucking work!
It's not going to work at all.
And Jeff Goldblum, why is Jeff Goldblum in this movie? And why is he so wooden as the villain? And why is he playing a baby disguised as a science teacher? Perhaps the most annoying character.
I think he did one because he's aware that it would be bad.
Yeah, that's chaos theory for you.
Like how Ben Affleck knew that Justice League was going to be bad by doing bad acting.
Yeah, that's chaos theory right there. But perhaps the most annoying character has to be Amy Sedaris, playing the baby daughter. Holy shitballs, she was so irritating. She just won't shut the fuck up for a second. And she got on my nose rather quickly. Hey, Mally Seliger in music, you're still the worst character of the year, but you got competition. Just like the first movie, the animation is lackluster. The backgrounds and outfits all look cheap, and the baby humans, especially the babies, look like ugly creatures. Especially that one creepy baby. Ugh.
Oh, he's
dribbling.
I am not even kidding. That one creepy baby managed to be even more terrifying than the sun baby from the Teletubbies.
Speaking of just won't shut the fuck up for a second, this entire motion picture won't shut the fuck up for a second. I mean,
it just will not shut up. It keeps storing in constant noise after constant noise, like it's on a sugar rush or something, and it just will never shut the fuck up.
I mean, say what you will about the first film, but at least it knew to take a break to let the story and whatever drama it had sink in for just a brief moment. This sequel, on the other hand, is the equivalent of waving your keys in front of your dumb little kids for 107 minutes straight.
Yeah, really, and it never stops. It just throws in all that constant noise. If there's one thing I hate about bad animated films or bad movies in general, it's all the noise.
It is truly the
noise.
It is truly the Bubsy cartoon extended to nearly 2 hours. Yeah, remember that shit?
Yeah, really. They even try to copy some of the stuff that Chuck Jones did in the past, which was really pathetic, because what Chuck Jones did in those Looney Tunes cartoons were original. They were adorable, and they were groundbreaking.
And if you want to watch an animated movie with Chuck Jones influence, I suggest rewatching Looney Tunes Back in Action instead.
Yeah, really.
And this movie doesn't just use idiotic pop culture references to just Lord of the Rings, Taxi Driver, Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, etc. It doesn't just pander to the audience with its non-stop shock humor and with its second entendres. It thinks kids in the audience who somehow agreed to take them to the theater are so stupid that it has to deliver its try-hard jokes and annoying action sequences involving car chases, ninja babies, and Mentos and Cokes, and even its out-of-nowhere musical numbers. Yeah, this becomes a fucking musical on two occasions. To this fast, grab-your-attention presentation with all the noise. And if there's one thing I can't stand about movies, it's noise. Noise!
Oh, the noise!
And if you're wondering, Eddie, I'm sorry for not answering this. It's worse than Minions, but and it's definitely worse than Ice Age 5, but it's not worse than Norm of the North, in my eyes. and also Jose, I didn't see Open Season 2, and I refuse to watch that one.
Rob Schneider is a polar bear, rated PG-13.
Rob Schneider, rated PG-13. If you guys watch South Park, you get the reference. You were saying, Soren? I guess I'll chip in. The only reason why I can't give this a 0 is because Ariana Greenblatt is the only voice actress in the film that gives out a decent performance. She acts like a real kid, and that was what I was impressed with her performance. That's what made me impressed with her performance. And I will admit, the animation, I kind of have to disagree with Soren on this one. I do have to give the animation some credit. They did like, other than the ugly human designs, they did like, excuse me. They did like add some details to the backgrounds and like like the snow and like the textures and stuff to some of the scenes. But so the animation, I will admit, is a bit better than the first film. But that's not saying much, though. Is it worse than Troll in Central Park? No, but it's close. It's close. Soren, your mic is mute. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, I'm back. Like I was saying, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Nick. Yes, I'd rather watch Norman the North, Ice Age 5, and Minions over this piece of shit. But like I was saying before, all that is nothing compared to the worst scene in the movie. When I saw the scene near the start of the movie, I knew I was in trouble. After the scene ended, I legit wanted to blow my brains out. Even so, like last year's feeding time scene in Artemis Fowl. You guys ready for this Mickey Mouse bullshit? Okay. So
we saw this when I saw the same scene, Soren, so I know what you're talking about.
But before our heroes go on to their journey to save the world, first they have to take this potion to turn them back into babies. For literally no reason but to rehash the same story arc between them so that Alec Bowen can be on the poster, but that's besides the point. Because he and the protagonist hate each other, they have to fire the potion while each of them slowly and painfully regrets to each phase of growth all the way up to the baby forms in the first movie, while their daughter baby just watches them like a little bitch to the tune of Time Warp, all right into this weird scene where these assholes are naked, pinching each other's nipples, and making these weird moaning noises like they're having case.
And then what's even worse, they pinch each other's nipples.
Guys said that.
Nipples, and they moan like they're doing some kind of porno.
Yeah. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I am going to play this clip again.
I'm gonna. Well, before you do, this sound clip I'm gonna play basically describes my reaction to the scene. Oh. What the hell? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Something wrong with this.
Hold on. Hold on. Should be coming up in just a...
Caillou is still worse, Eddie. I can't watch that annoying I hated it when I was a toddler, and I still hate him to this day.
Thank goodness that show was canceled.
Yeah, thank goodness. Hold on a second. There's something wrong with my internet.
You know what? I think I got the clip. Just give me a second. Anyways, I got it. Here is what I have to say about this fucking scene.
Or as Lobo would say,
"This is crap." This is crap. Good day, sir.
frag this. This is crap.
Oh my God! What was going through the writers' heads when they thought of putting that clip in there? When they thought of putting that scene in there?
And it was Michael McCullers, of all people, who had written the Austin Powers sequels.
Dude, you're better than this. What were you thinking? I know you're a talented writer, man. I know you're a talented writer, man, but why did you write that scene?
I'm just gonna say it right now. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me, maybe even lash out at me, but it's just my opinion, and honesty is the best policy.
Yeah,
this
Earl.
movie
That's true.
makes This movie makes Norma the North and the Emoji Movie look good. I'm serious. Because at least with those movies, I can look at them and laugh at their expense due to how bad they are. This movie, however, is so bad, so cringeworthy, and so corporate that I can never see myself watching this again. There's not a single frame I can say is good or passing about this one. This is a flat 0 out of 10. This is the second worst anime movie I've ever seen in my life, just below Sausage Party. This is also dethroned Playing with Hellfire as the worst children's film I've ever witnessed.
All right, well,
and one more thing. Who are you people who try to defend this movie, saying shit like, oh, why are you so harsh on this movie? It's not so bad. It's just a simple kids movie. It wasn't made for you. Well, here's what I have to say about that. You're
please
part of the problem.
stop throwing that excuse. Just because it's a kids does not mean that critics and or audiences have to be this less harsh on it. If a movie fails, if a kids movie fails, whether it's live action or animated, there's a good reason for that.
Yeah.
And also, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem because you keep making those types of movies successful. Those low effort, reference spewing, fart joke humor, star-studded animated atrocities because you don't want your kids to be challenged so that they may be entertained and distracted enough so that their parents can be allowed to do something. That is exactly how I feel that animated kids movies are dying, because you keep celebrating mediocrity just because it has a PG rating and a CGI filter. And if you take your kids to this movie, it's going to make your kids dumber. It is going to make you dumber. Hey, remember when watching a movie with a family was a fantastic experience? Yeah, back in the late 30s to say 2000s, we were treated to movies that not only entertained children, but also captivated adults with their great animation, wonderful characters, and excellent writing. And allow me to give you a list of some of those movies: Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Gulliver's Travels, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, Jungle Book, Robin Hood, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Lupin III, Fox and the Hound,
Lupin.
Secret of... Huh?
It's pronounced Lupin.
Oh, Lupin, sorry. The Fox and the Hound, Secret of Nim,
Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Great Mouse Detective, Castle in the Sky, Brave Little Toaster, My Neighbor Totoro, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Oliver and Company, Kiki's Delivery Service, The Little Mermaid, DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp, The Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Porco Rosso, Aladdin, Batman Master of the Phantasm, Nightmare Before Christmas, The Lion King, sorry Nick, A Goofy Movie, Toy Story, James and the Giant Peach, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Cats Don't Dance, Hercules, Princess Mononoke, The Ugly Duckling, Mulan, Ants, A Bug's Life, Prince of Egypt, Tarzan, Iron Giant, Toy Story 2, Fantasia 2000, Lego Movie, Extremely Goofy Movie, Road to El Dorado, Titan AE, Chicken Run, Rugrats in Paris, The Emperor's New Groove, Shrek, Atlantis the Lost Empire, Spirited Away, Monsters Inc., Ice Age, Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, Lilo and Stitch, Gilna, a VeggieTales movie, Treasure Planet, Piglets Big Movie, Finding Nemo, Triplets of Belleville, Brother Bear, Shrek 2, Polar Express Incredibles, SpongeBob SquarePants movie, House Movie Castle, Bruce Heffalump movie, Robots, Madagascar, Wallace and Gromit, Hoodwink, Cars, Over the Heads, Monster House, Flushed Away, Meet the Robinsons, Surf's Up, Ratatouille, Here's a Who, Kung Fu Panda, Wally, Ponyo, Madagascar 2, Bolt, Coraline, Secret of Kells, Monsters vs. Aliens, Up, 9, Cloud with a Chance of Meatballs, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Christmas Power 2009, the one with Jim Carrey, Princess and the Frog, and everything Dreamers completely destroyed the animation medium. On the contrary, a lot of good movies came out from the 2000s. We had How to Train Your Dragon, Wreck Forever After, Toy Story 3, Despicable Me, Legend of the Guardians, Alice of the Kahoo, Secret World of Ariete, Megamind, Tangled, Rango, Winnie the Pooh, Kung Fu Panda 2, Adventures of Tintin, Puss in Boots, Arthur Christmas, Iris and the Adventurous Scientist, or Iris Band of Misfits in America, Madagascar 3, You're Supposed Wanted, Paranorman, Hotel Transylvania, Frankenweenie, The Ralph, Rise of the Guardians, Epic, Monsters University, Despicable Me 2, The Wind Rises, Frozen to a certain extent, The Lego Movie, P-Bot and Sherman, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Box Trolls, Big Hero 6, Penguins of Madagascar, Shaun the Sheep movie, SpongeBob movie, Sons on the Run, Inside Out, Hotel Transylvania 2, Peanuts movie. Yes, I said the movie is overrated, but I give credit where credit is due. The Good Dinosaur, Kung Fu Panda 3, Zootopia, Finding Dory, Your Name, Cool and the Two Strings, Stars, Trolls, Moana, Like a Batman movie, Cars 3, Captain Underpants, Coco, Isle of Dogs, Incredibles 2, the Internet, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Dragon into the Hidden World, Like a Movie 2, Missing Link, Toy Story 4, and Peterson and to the Floor Pest, to Klaus, Spies in Disguise. And if you think animation is dead, on the contrary, there's some good anime kids movies from the past couple of years. We had Onward, Willoughby's, Wolfwalkers, Soul, Ray the Last Dragon, The Mitchells, and the Machines, and Luca. All of those are far better fucking movies than this piece of horse shit.
Yeah, really.
You know why all these movies?
We all get the point, but it's just still, that's no excuse to throw in that. It's just the kid's excuse. That's no excuse.
And you know why all those movies work? Because they did something else like this piece of shit Boss Baby didn't. They grew up. They knew how to treat their audience like they're fully functioning human beings that can be inspired to be better people. Hell, even become filmmakers to make movies themselves. Films like Boss Baby 2, on the other hand, don't care about adults. Hell, I don't think they even care about kids either. All they care about is that their eyes stare blankly into the screen and demand more of these shitty movies. More movies like Boss Baby 2. More movies like Playing with Fire. More movies like the Emoji Movie, Food Fight, Last Airbender, Aptos Disney DVD sequels. And eventually, we're gonna go tired of them. Animated kids movies are gonna go extinct. And we don't want that, do we? So don't watch this movie ever. Don't go into the theater and see this. Don't watch it on Peacock. Don't rent it. Don't buy it on Blu-ray. Don't pirate it. Don't do anything. Because there's much better content for your kids. Movies like Luca or Mitchell's for the Machines or so. Oh, hell, so do the great animated movies that you used to watch, passing it down through generations and such. And maybe, just maybe, film studios can learn to think about what's right for both your kids and you. So to sum it all up, fuck this movie, fuck famous modern era, fuck my kids' movies in general, and shame on all your parents for supporting it. Good day, sir. Yeah, really.
This is, I know, Eddie. I know, Eddie. It's. I would rather watch Pickle and Peanut more than the Boss Baby 2.
And I'd rather watch Shark Tale than the Boss Baby movies because
Same
that
here.
was more fun.
Yeah, really. And I'm gonna play this clip. Like to sum up my feelings towards these people who make that stupid excuse.
Finally got to take responsibility, or you're gonna keep making excuses. You pussy punk bitch.
I know I'm being generous, but because of the decent animation and one voice actress that did give out a decent performance, I am going to give this. This is getting a 1 out of 10 or a D-. Make no mistake, this is one of the worst movies I've seen this year. It's just absolutely horrendous from start to finish, and I can't imagine another anime film topping this as the worst anime film I've seen this year. I can't imagine it. This is the lowest of the low I had ever seen an animated film come to this year. I haven't been this pissed off at an animated film since Ugly Dolls. It's that bad. Oh, good man. Oh, and another thing too. I was gonna describe my reaction to that goddamn nipple pinching scene. This is basically my reaction.
Yes, it's bad.
It's so bad. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Soren, I like your Pinkie Pie plush.
Yeah. All right, we got some more stuff to cover. So, also, no, Eddie. It's just Nick, Soren. It's just me, Soren, Christian, and I. Sorry, man.
It's
just
discuss stuff. We discuss something positive for a change.
Yeah, really.
Oh no, Chris Stuckmann, right? Famous film critic.
Yes.
Film critic with for subscribers and tons of views. At T production studio pictures to write a horror movie called Shelby Oaks.
I don't think I could hear you right. Can you come a little bit closer, please?
Hold on, let me get my headset back in.
Sorry about this, folks. We're facing some difficulties right now, but it should be under in just a minute or a few seconds. Yeah, I know, Nicholas Lee. I know it makes no sense. I mean, I get it. Like, I get it. The animation is terrible, but it's just like, let people like something that they like. It's just. I'm gonna rant on the next podcast, but to all you people bullying Nicholas Lee, just because he likes something that he likes, leave him out of this. Leave him alone.
I would never bully my friends.
Yeah.
I was
Anyways,
talking to the toxic people.
Yeah. Can you guys?
All right.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me just start over real quick. You all know Chris Stuckmann, right?
Yes.
Famous film reviewer with nearly 2 million subscribers. Well, he has
Yes.
been tapped by boutique production studio Paper Street Pictures to direct a horror movie titled Shelby Oaks. Stuckmann recently signed with Hollywood-based management and production firm Gotham Group and has multiple horror scripts in the works, Deadline reports. Shelby Oaks will chronicle a fictional paranormal investigative team known as the Paranormal Paranoids that said found footage videos online in recent months, including one that appeared to show the abduction of a member of the group. Riley has caused many horror and alternative reality game fans to wonder whether the team is real, per Deadline. I've been looking for the right project to partner with Chris on for a while, Paper Street CEO Aaron told the outlet in a statement. And when I fell down the rabbit hole of the scariest little story, quickly seen right in Chris's backyard of Ohio, with an intriguing and ever-growing YouTube element baked in, I knew that we had to act fast on the perfect vehicle to launch Chris as a future filmmaker. Stuckmann had made headlines earlier this year after coming out as a pansexual in a video called "How I Left the Jehovah's Witnesses to Pursue Filmmaking," which discussed why he shut down his first channel as a fear of disfellowship, attendant in which ex-members of the church are cut off from friends and family who remain affiliated. You know, I gotta say, it was pretty gun on Chris Stuckmann to go this far in his career, especially since he's been wanting to make movies on his own for the longest time. And will Shelby Oaks succeed? Who knows? But it'll be something for me to look forward to.
Yep. In the movie, folks.
Anyways, I did have a couple more topics here, but I really don't want to go with them anymore due to time constraints, and because I pretty much gotten tired from all the ranting. So I'm just gonna skip right to the list. First off, 20 favorite movies of 2015. So here are some honorable mentions I have. I have Creed 2, Black Mass, Everest, Furious 7, Shaun the Sheep movie, Brooklyn.
You mentioned Creed
Carol,
2 instead of just Creed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the
you
first
did.
Creed. My
It's fine.
apologies then. Anyway, so Creed,
It's fine.
Black Mass, Everest, Furious 7, Shaun the Sheep movie, Brooklyn, Carol, and Maggie.
Okay. All right. So here are my honorable mentions: Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, Kingsman: The Secret Service, Black Mass. I'm trying to. For those who are asking, I didn't make a letterboxd on my favorite films of 2015 list. So I'm just. So, you know, I'm just going to have to skip the honorable mentions because I forgot what they were.
All right, fair enough. Skip to my top 20 then. My number 20 is one of the most underrated films of that year, Macbeth. Number 19, Beasts of No Nation. Number 18, Sicario. Number 17, Bridge of Spies. Number 16, The Big Short. Number 15, Room. Number 14, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Number 13, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 12, Steve Jobs. Number 11, The Hateful Eight. Number 10, Kingsman: The Secret Service. Number 9, Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Number 8, Spotlight. Number 7, Ex Machina. Number 6, The Martian. Number 5, The Revenant. Number 4, Hey Magpie Pony. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Number 3, Anomalisa. Number 2, Inside Out. And number 1, the best film of the decade for me, Mad Max Fury Road.
Nice. All right. So, okay. So here here are my top 20. I already know what 12 and 11 are. This. You know what? I'm only gonna list 10 because or you know what? I'm actually gonna list 15 because there were some that were originally in my top 15 that have changed. So here's the list. Number 15, The Big Short. Number 14, The Revenant, directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu. Number 13, Son of Saul. Number 12, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Number 11, Carol. Number 10, The Hateful Eight. Number 9, Sicario. Number 8, Steve Jobs. Number 7 is The Martian. Number 6, Room. Number 5. Oh crap! Hold on. I'm trying to remember. I just have a bad memory. Oh yeah, number 5, Steven Spielberg's Bridge of Spies. Number 4, the best animated film I saw in 2015, Inside Out. Number 3, Mad Max Fury Road. Number 2, Brooklyn. And my number 1 favorite film of 2015, the Academy Award-winning film, Spotlight.
Nice. So tune in to the next episode where we go over 2014. But as for our second to last list, we're gonna list My Little Pony: Friendship and Smash season 3. Now, season 3 I thought was okay. My biggest problem is that it was way too short, with 13 episodes instead of 26. So let's get down to this. First up, a couple bad episodes. Number 13, One Bad Apple, and number 12, Spike at Your Service.
Yeah, I did not like those episodes at all.
Now we have the average episode, number 11, Just for Sidekicks. As for the good episodes, number 10, Magical Mystery Cure. Number 9, Crystal Empire Part 1. Number 8, Sleepless in Ponyville. Number 7, Games Ponies Play. Number 6, Crystal Empire Part 2. Number 5, Keep Calm and Flutter On. Number 4, Apple Family Reunion. And the 3 great episodes. Number 3, Magic Duel. Number 2, Wonderbolts Academy. And number 1, Too Many Pinkie Pies.
Wonderbolts Academy is definitely my favorite of season 3.
That reminds me, Christopher Nolan and Ray Fisher are in talks to make a new movie, which is a female lead noir mystery.
Huh.
Nice.
That's interesting. Can't go on with Christopher Nolan, in spite of his comments about HBO Max, but that's besides the point.
And I respect your opinion too, Meadowland fan 2004. All right.
And I'm gonna say that I've only seen My Little Pony seasons 1 to 4 and the movie, but I do hear that the series kind of went downhill at the last couple seasons. But I'll get to that when I get to it.
Yeah, seasons 8 and 9 were not good seasons. Despite a couple of good hidden gems.
Yeah.
Which my favorite of season 8. My favorite of season 8 was Sound of Silence, and my favorite episode of season 9 was the Big Mac question.
I'll have to check those when I get to it. But anyways, on to our final event.
We're gonna do the final event of the night. I promised you guys on a couple of podcasts ago, and now it's finally happening. We're gonna talk about our 10 favorite movies that Soren and I saw this year so far. Now, I just want to say this. Eddie, we'll think about that. Soren and I will think about that. Just when we get some time, we will. Now, just to keep a couple rules from the last list. These are the movies that Soren and I saw this year so far. So, and you may disagree with some of the choices, and if some of the movies that you hated are on this list, or the movies that you like are on our worst list, please do not get offended. It's just our personal opinion, and it's like I said, it's okay to disagree. And second,
yeah, my pony, no need to harass your viewers just because they have a different opinion than you.
Yeah, really. Which, like I said, I will touch upon. Yeah, which I will touch upon that next time on our next podcast. Like when I do a big rant on this. Like I said, this will probably be the angriest I'll ever be on that. So yeah, just buckle your seatbelts for that next time, folks. And also another thing too. We only go by the films that we saw. So yeah. So anything from January to all the way through July 2nd is fair game. So don't expect films like Pig. Don't expect films like Pig, Space Jam: New Legacy, Escape Room, Tournament of Champions to be on the list, since we're only going by the ones that we saw. So anyway, without further ado, Soren and I will talk about our 10 worst and best movies that we've seen so far this year. Now we're gonna go from 10th worst, 10th best, 9th worst, 9th best, and so on. So yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. Before we get to our top 10 of the worst and best movies that I've seen this year, that Soren and I've seen this year so far, I do have three dishonorable and 3 honorable mentions.
Yeah, and I have a couple of those as well. So
okay.
Why don't you go first this time, Nick? I'm being nice.
Okay. Good thing I have a script with me. All right. Spirit Untamed, Voyagers, and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Yeah, I heard that was mediocre.
I know. I did not like these movies, but you guys are lucky that you're not in the top 10. You're still not good, though. Sorry.
My couple dishonorable mentions are Mortal Kombat and Voyagers.
Fair enough. And good list. And as for the 3 honorable mentions, they are Together, Holler, one of the most overlooked films I've seen this year so far, and The Mitchells versus the Machines.
My honorable mentions would have to be Godzilla vs. Kong and Luca.
Nice. All right, so let's begin our. Now we're going to explain in shorter details why they're on the list, on our worst films of the year list. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Number 10 worst. All right. Soren and I pretty much explained this one, so this is going to be really quick. Number 10, Fast 9, The Fast Saga.
That's my number 10 as well.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, this is what happens when you have a franchise that has run out of gas at this point. Pun intended.
Oh,
and
where did Christian go?
Oh shit. Looks like he left.
Yeah. Let's just move on.
Yeah. So this is what happens when you have a franchise that it's running out of gas, pun intended. Other than a couple of good performances, the musical score the soundtrack, cinematography, and the directing. Everything else was terrible. No, Eddie. So all right. So Eddie asked, "What if Steve Harvey was in the MCU movie?" That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Not sure what the character he'd play, but yeah.
Oh, Christian left this message. Sorry for unintentionally leaving. I set up cake for my dad.
All right.
All right then. All right. So Soren and I have this at number 10. Number 9. For my list. All right. Number 10 best on my best of the year list is the Pixar animated film Luca. Luca is a wonderful it's a delightful animated film from start to finish. Yes, it does sadly go for that fish out of water story cliche that we've seen in other films before, but that was really my only complaint with the film. Everything else I really liked.
Yeah, fish out of water, no pun intended.
All right, so you're number 10 best.
My number 10 is Nobody. Well, not nearly as masterful as the director's previous film, Hardcore Henry. It's still an entertaining action movie with an incredible lead performance and some really good action sequences. So my number 10 is Nobody.
All right. What if a bunch of food chains announced a movie on the same week? That would be interesting. All right. Number 9 worst. Number 9 worst is one of the worst sequels I've seen this entire year, and one of the worst kids films I've seen this entire year too. And not to mention one of the most unnecessary sequels of the year too. Peter Rabbit 2: The Runaway.
You'll find it high on my list.
Yeah. Although some stuff did improve over the. Honestly, after watching Peter Rabbit 2, it made me. And Christian's back. Let me get him on the air. And he's gone. Shoot. Oh well. This is what happens when you make a movie that's not only a bit worse than the first film, but all of a sudden has the audacity to make critic jokes. Like it's just, look, it's fine to be self-aware, but it needs to have a purpose. Like, for example, Deadpool and Wayne's World. Yeah, they broke the fourth wall many times, but the thing is, they served a purpose. With Peter Rabbit 2, it served no purpose with the amount of critic jokes they did, with the amount of fourth wall jokes they threw in the film. It just felt too much. The voice acting is good. The visual effects are very good, and the cinematography is very good too. But yeah, I'm sorry, I did not like this movie at all. Yeah, overall, Peter Rabbit 2 is my number 9 film on the list. Number 9 worst.
My number 9 worst is Coming to America. Like I said previously, this is pretty much the Blues Brothers 2000 of this year. A sequel to an 80s comedy classic that nobody asked for, that just rehashes the first movie and does it in just an inane way. So my number 9 is Coming to America.
Okay. All right. My number 9 best is, as for my number 9 best, it's just, it's one of the best. It's a sequel that not only is one of the best I've seen this entire year, but one of the best of this summer too. A Quiet Place Part 2. I absolutely love this movie. What were you saying?
Never mind. Go ahead.
I absolutely love this movie. Not only did I love it as much as the first film, but it had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish, and I really enjoyed everything that happened. that happened in this movie. My only nitpick I did have with the film is that the ending was a bit abrupt, but that's really it. That's really it. The story was fantastic. The performances were great. The script was fantastic, and they do have jump scares in the film. But the thing is, they build a lot of tension to it, and I applaud director John Krasinski for that. I love, like I said, if you could build tension. If you could do a jump scare, as long as you build tension, then it works. But if it's done just for the sake of it, then it falls flat. Thankfully, A Quiet Place 2 builds tension for that, and it works so well. So yeah, Quiet Place 2 is my number 9 best.
My number 9 is Zola. Like I said previously, this was an unique experience with the 2 incredible performances, spectacular writing, and breathtaking cinematography and editing. Not for everyone, but something to appreciate. So my number 9, Zola. Excuse me.
Oh no, it's fine. My number 9 is my favorite anime film of the year. Oh wait a minute. We're on to the number 8 worst. I'm sorry. As for my number 8 worst, it's Spiral from the Book of Saw. Look, this wasn't as bad as like Jigsaw or this wasn't as bad as Jigsaw or Saw 7, but it's just one of the most unnecessary sequels I've seen this year so far. Other than a couple of good other than the acting being okay and the traps being clever and the cinematography being decent, there was nothing else that I liked about the film. And the ending to Spiral is one of the worst endings I've seen put to film this entire year. It was just so abrupt. It just leaves so many questions asked. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, Eddie. Yeah, it's just one of the most unnecessary spin-offs I've ever seen. It's just, there was no reason for this film to exist other than the fact just to please the Saw fans. And I know some people like this movie, and that's fine. I'm just not a fan of this. I'm just not a fan of Spiral. So, Spiral is my number 8 worst.
My number 8 is enough is enough. I've had it with this Deadpool knockoff motherfucking it up in my motherfucking movie, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
I have it way higher on the list.
So unlike the first movie, which was no John Wick, but had decent chemistry and action, this movie, on the other hand, had some good action, but downgrades Samuel L. Jackson and Salma Hayek to annoyance, and with the writing that it's just so stupid that it has to be seen to be believed. So my number 8 is Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
All right, as for my number 8 best, is my favorite animated film of the year so far, and it's Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. I love this movie. This is one of the most beautifully animated and exhilarating films I've seen this entire year. From its amazing animation to its amazing voice acting, wonderful direction, great story, great characters, great script, great editing, great action sequences, and a message about me being well like placed here, being well executed here, and that's what makes me love the movie even more. I absolutely love this movie. Raya and the Last Dragon is so far my favorite anime film I've seen this year so far. Yeah, so it deserves the number 8.
My number 8 is Those Who Wish Me Dead. While not nearly as good as Taylor Sheridan's best, since there are some characters that need a bit of development, this is still an underrated action movie with spectacular, with great performances from Angelina Jolie and the kid, and some breathtaking directing and cinematography. and with a hell of a forest fire climax. So my number 8, Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Okay. Owen, Eddie, I think it's really stupid for these people to like harass Kelly all because of her character roles. That's so stupid.
Yeah, really.
All right, so the number 7 worst. Now, number 7 worst is probably the film you guys have never even heard of. It was in theaters. It was in theaters nationwide. But this movie is one of those movies that could have had a lot to say, and could have been a celebration of Asian American culture and basketball. It could have been a good coming of age movie, but instead it turned out to be one of the most inconsistent movies I've seen this entire year. Number 7 is Boogie.
Not Boogie Nights, that's for sure.
No, hell no. Boogie is one of those movies that really that would be pretty funny if it was called that, Eddie.
Well, there was a show back in the day called Don't Trust to Be in Apartment 23, but yeah.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, Boogie is one of those movies that really was so like frustrating to watch. Most of the acting is fine. Taylor Page is really the only one that like steals the show for me, and it's a well shot movie too. The cinematography was very good. But here's one big problem with Boogie. It's nothing but like 90 minutes of unlikable characters and a pity party. Like all the characters like pitying them and pitying themselves. It's stupid. Well, not as bad as like shoving like. Well, not as bad as shoving like feminist propaganda down our throats, like in Black Christmas 2019. It's still pretty bad. So yeah, Boogie deserves the number 7 spot. It's easily the worst independent film I've seen this year so far.
Hey, James Corin, how are you doing? And how are you doing all snug in the number 7 spot? Number 7 is Peter Rabbit 2: The Runaway. Now, unlike Nick here, I actually thought the first Peter Rabbit was okay, but this movie was a poor imitation because unlike the first movie where it had where it was somewhat good, this movie on the other hand is just annoying. Like when Nick and I first saw this movie together, we were both really annoyed by this movie. So I apologize for stammering here, but my number 7 is Peter Rabbit 2.
Yeah, I do apologize for stammering too. It's just I really wish I had a script with me right now, but it's just I had a lot of things on my mind that I forgot to do. I have letterbots in case you guys are wondering how I'm able to go through this list. Number 7, as for my number 7 best, it's one of 2 documentary films that will appear on the list. One of them is a documentary film directed by Edgar Wright. It's called The Sparks Brothers, and that's my number 7 spot. The Sparks Brothers was a great documentary. Not only do we get some great information about the Sparks Brothers through some interviews with not only themselves but people who are not only friends with him but also people who took inspirations from him. But it's also really funny and it was also a riveting documentary film from start to finish. My only gripe I do have with the film is that it was a bit too long. I did wish they could have cut like 10 minutes of the film down. But other than that, it was a great documentary, and I absolutely loved it from start to finish. The interviews were interesting, and it's shot so beautifully well in black and white, especially with the interviews. So yeah, the Sparks Brothers is my number 7 best.
My number 7 is Guy Ritchie's latest, Wrath of Man. And I gotta say, of all of the Guy Ritchie movies I've seen so far, this might be the least Guy Ritchie-ish movie I've seen because this was way darker. With one of Jason Statham's best performances, some great action sequences, and a hella underrated score. So I know I'm in the minority here, but my number 7 is Wrath of Man.
Nice. As for the number 6 worst, I already mentioned this. I already ranted on this, so I'm just going to provide short details of it. The Forever Purge. Long story short,
I'm not saying a fucking word.
All right. Long story short, this wasn't as bad as the first Purge. Not the original first Purge, the prequel, the first Purge, nor the Purge election year. But regardless, this was still one of the most frustrating. It's one of the most inconsistent, idiotic, and frustrating films I've ever had to sit through this entire year. Despite a couple of good performances by the 5 main leads, as well as the cinematography being good and one cool action sequence that was done in one take, everything else was just frustrating to sit through. And the redneck villain character, good God, he's nothing but a cartoon villain. That's all he is, and he was so annoying in the film. And the ending sets it up for the 6th Purge movie. Yeah, I hated this movie. It may not be as bad as the last 2, but The Forever Purge is still a terrible movie. That's why it deserves the number 6 worst spot.
My number 6 is Doug Liman's Chaos Walking. So, decent concept, great cast, and a talented filmmaker. So what the hell went wrong here? Well, let me tell you what went wrong. Unlikable or underdeveloped characters, poor pacing, and a concept that doesn't really take full advantage. And between this and the lockdown, it's safe to say that Doug Liman has hit a low point in his career. So my number 6, Chaos Walking. Yeah, they're not going to make a Dirty Grandpa 2, Nicholas 98.
They better not make that. All right. My number 6 best. I'll talk about Chaos Walking in a bit once we get to it, but it's pretty high on my list. So my number 6 best is, as for my number 6 best, this is another independent film that some people, this is an independent movie that a lot of people should check out. It's called Supernova. It stars Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth, and this is a great movie. This is a great movie from start to finish. Like one of my favorite films I saw last year, The Father, this movie did a wonderful job capturing a realistic depiction of a person suffering through dementia. And not only were the performances by Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci terrific, but the chemistry that they had in the film was also absolutely terrific, since it feels like, since you buy the fact that the characters that they are playing are more than just friends, they also love each other too, which is one of the reasons why I absolutely love this movie and why I loved how the script was written for this. And it leads to an ending which was really one of the most emotional endings I've seen this year so far. My only complaint is that it was a bit too short, and I did wish they could have added 10 more minutes of this film. But regardless, I love this movie. It's one of the best I've seen this year so far, and Supernova easily deserves my number 6 best film of the year spot.
And no, it's not that cheesy 2000 sci-fi movie. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the universe.
Yeah, really. Anyway, your number 6 spot?
My number 6 is Cruella. This is
nice.
Hands down this is hands down the best of Disney's live-action remakes, with spectacular performances, especially from Emma Stone and Emma Thompson, a hell of a direction and soundtrack, and all given great explanations as to what made Cruella the evil super villain that she is, and yeah. A lot of people seem to like it, and I love it too. So my number 6, Cruella.
I really like Cruella so much. It was really surprising. Oh, I'd be extremely mad if it happened, Eddie. If they dare make that Dirty Grandpa 2. All right. Now we're on to the top 5 worst. My number 5 worst is easily the worst horror film I've seen this year so far. The Unholy. God, talk about a horror film that did have some potential with its concept, but it's poor. But when you see the final product of the film, you see how poorly executed the story is. There are a couple of good. Most of the acting is. There are a couple of good performances, especially from. Let me look this up really quick. I'm sorry. I will admit there are a couple of good performances by Katie Aselton, William Sadler, and Cricket Brown. And the cinematography is very, very good. And the opening sequence was actually really terrifying. Was actually really well done. But other than that, it was just. And I did like the musical score since it felt haunting. But other than that, this was garbage. Garbage. They relied too much on those jump scares, which although it wasn't as bad as although it's not as bad as false jump scares, it's just jump scares that are there just for the sake of it. Just for the sake of it. No tension, no purpose whatsoever. And I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but he was absolutely terrible in this movie. He's supposed to play the drunk performer in the film, and he looked like he didn't even want to be there. And I can't blame him. But still. So yeah, overall, The Unholy is the worst horror film I've seen this year so far. It's boring. It's forgettable. It's not. And the biggest sin of all bad horror movies is it's not scary. Yeah, easily deserving of the number 5 worst film of the year spot is The Unholy.
My number 5 is Ben Falcone and Melissa McCarthy's latest, Thunder Force. Holy crap, how do you make a superhero comedy boring? This is how, apparently. Ben Falcone and Melissa McCarthy should just stop working together. Their style of humor is not funny anymore. Despite some 1 or 2 good visuals, this was just a slog to sit through. So that's it all I have to say. My number 5, Thunder Farts.
Thunder Farts. That's good. All right, my number 5, Soren. My number 5 best. Soren had it on his list, and it's Zola. I really love this movie. Zola was one of the best films. Was one of the most entertaining and mesmerizing films I've seen this year so far. Filled with wonderful performances and chemistry by Taylor Page and Riley Q, as well as good chemistry by them, and a film that is so beautifully shot, as well as having a great story and a witty and clever script and a wonderful direction. It's not hard to see why this is one of the best movies I've seen this year so far. My only complaint is that the ending was a bit underwhelming, but that's it. That's really it. Zola was absolutely one of the best movies I've seen this year so far, and it easily deserves the spot as my number 5 best. Yeah, Zola, number 5.
Should I have my microphone? My number 5 is Limbo. Like I said, if you've seen Wes Anderson movies,
funny enough, it's my number 4 best.
Huh.
So why don't we just why don't we just explain together why this is one of the best films you and I saw this year?
So if you've seen any of Wes Anderson movies or Yorgos Lanthimos movies, then you know what you're going into. A dark, quirky drama that doesn't care how weird it is, with great performances, especially from the lead, darkly impressive visuals, and a pretty great soundtrack. So if you're looking for a hidden gem this year, this is it. My number 5, Limbo.
And I already explained that Limbo is my number 4 at best, which I'm going to kind of break the rules here for a second, but hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Limbo was one of those movies that really riveted me from start to finish. I was so impressed with everything that I've seen in the film. Not only does it feature one of the best performances of the year by... I'm sorry, I have to load this up again. Not only does Limbo feature one of the best breakthrough performances of the year by Asmir. Sorry, hold on. Ah, crud. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. Not only does Limbo feature one of the best breakthrough performances of the year by Asmir El-Masri, as well as Vikish Bahide, but they also had great chemistry in the film, since you buy the fact that these two characters that they play are friends, and it's weird and yet quirky, offbeat humor was witty and clever. It's well directed, it's well written, the story was very interesting, and the ending was absolutely beautiful. And it has a fantastic soundtrack, and it's also beautifully shot, especially with the 4:3 aspect ratio they shot for the film. That was a very nice touch to the cinematography. So yeah, Limbo is one of the best movies that Soren and I saw this year so far, and it's easily Soren's number 5 best and my number 4 best. And now we come to the number 4 worst. Oh boy. Number 4, Soren had it on his list. It's higher on my list. Number 4, Chaos Walking. How is it possible that you have Doug Liman, the director of Edge of Tomorrow, deliver a terrible directing and a story that goes absolutely nowhere, and have inconsistent writing that like makes no sense? And worst of all, the costume designs being absolutely atrocious. How is that even possible? And how could you? And how does? Oh my God! How is Daisy Ridley so horribly miscast in this movie? That's just unbelievable. The only thing that puts it at number 4 instead of number 2 or 3 is that Tom Holland and Mads Mikkelsen do deliver some good performances. It's a very well shot movie, and the visuals are decent, although not that great. But that's besides the point. Yeah, those are the reasons why this is only at number 4. But make no mistake, Chaos Walking is one of the most boring, forgettable, and inconsistent movies I've seen this entire year. And I know I used the word inconsistent, but that's the best way I would describe some of the films on my worst films of the year list. So yeah, number 4 worst is Chaos Walking, or as thank you Nicholas Lee, or as Nicholas Lee likes to call it, Chaos Boring.
Yeah, really. My number 4 is The Woman in the Window. Like with Chaos Walking, decent premise, but horrible execution. I mean, how am I supposed to take it seriously that Amy Adams is confined to her home because she's afraid of the outside world? I mean, am I watching a tense thriller, or that one episode of SpongeBob with the gorilla and the 7 Mile spanking machine? And not to mention the filmmaking, it's just idiotic as well, with the hideous lighting and editing, and the twists in this movie are just idiotic. So if you want more information, go watch my video on it in my channel. My number 4, The Woman in the Window.
I already explained my number 4 best, so your number 4 best.
Oh, my number 4 is Judas and the Black Messiah. This got an Oscar nomination for Best Picture this year, and it's easy to see why.
And one more thing. That's actually my number 3 best.
Huh.
Eddie told me to highlight this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not bringing this up, but Daisy better not end up like Hayden Christensen only because they were both in Star Wars. I hope not either, but I have a bad feeling that it could happen, and I don't want it to happen. I feel bad for Christensen too.
Yeah, because Stacey Ridley shows promise as a talented actress.
Yeah, and Hayden Christensen also showed promise when he was in that Shattered Glass movie, which he was terrific in.
Yeah,
you should check it out.
Yeah, I should.
Anyway. But yeah. Anyway, Soren has Judas and the Black Messiah at number 4 best, and I have mine at number 3 best.
Anyways, like I was saying, this was a brilliant biopic of the Black Panther Party, not the Marvel character, the BLM movement before it was. And Daniel Kaluuya in this movie, he deserved that Oscar in spades.
Yes.
And the rest of the actors are pretty good as well. The cinematography, writing, and the soundtrack are top-notch as well. So, my number 4, Judas and the Black Messiah.
And I so agree with what you said here, and that explains why Judas and the Black Messiah is my number 3 best. Not only does Daniel Kaluuya easily deserve that Oscar for best supporting actor, as it was unlike anything I've ever seen him in. But let me tell you, it's Lakeith Stanfield that really gives out one of the best performances I've seen this year. I don't understand why he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor when he's really the main lead. That doesn't make any sense. But that's besides the point. The rest of the acting is fantastic. It's very well shot. The soundtrack, cinematography, writing, directing, story, top notch. I absolutely love this movie, and the editing was also top notch too. And I really love the ending. It's very well paced, and yeah, I love Judas and the Black Messiah. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year, and that's why it is Soren's number 4 best and my number 3 best.
Now, I have my number 3 best, but I have a feeling that it's going to be next number 2. So just to get things going with the worst list, let me instead go from my number 3 worst. That is Tom and Jerry.
I'll talk. I have that way higher on my list.
Unlikable characters, horrible animation, gags that's just copy and pasted from the cartoons, and this movie is just so dated that it throws in rapping pigeons, fart jokes, and even a fucking Steve Bartman reference. So yeah, my number 3, Tom and Jerry.
Okay, so my number 3 worst. Okay. My number 3 worst. Soren and I talked about it. I know, Soren, your shot it's like high on, it's like not at like number 2 or 1 on my list, but number 3 is the worst anime film I've seen this year, The Boss Baby Family Business.
All that matters to me is that it's high on the list.
Yeah. Oh my god. We already ranted what was wrong with the film, so yeah, it is worse than Yogi Bear, Eddie. The Tom and Jerry movie. It's worse. Yeah, we already explained what was wrong with the film, so I'm not gonna step into too much details on it. Like I said, other than the decent animation and Ariana Greenblatt being the only redeeming things in the film that were actually good, everything else is just terrible. And the scene where 2 brothers are back to their youth size naked and they pinch each other's nipples. That describes it
Are you
all.
sure this is rated PG? Are you sure this is a PG rated family film?
Oh my god. Yeah, really. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, overall, Boss Baby Family Business is easily the worst animated film I've seen this year. No, Nicholas Lee, I don't think Peter Rabbit 2 is worse than the Smurfs 2, but it's still pretty bad. But
I haven't seen Yogi Bear or the Smurfs movie, so I can't really say.
yeah, overall, Boss Baby Family Business it's shit. Or as I like to call it, baby shit. It's not only worse than the first film, but it manages to make the first movie look like a masterpiece in comparison. Without a doubt, this is the worst movie I've seen from DreamWorks Animation. Yeah, the people who made this movie should really be ashamed. The people who made this movie should really be ashamed of themselves, because I can't even believe that they would consider this as family entertainment. It's just
seriously.
It's just a sick, inhuman experience from start to finish. Yeah, overall, Boss Baby Family Business easily deserves the number 3 spot. Or as I like to call it, the bitch baby bullshit business.
My number 3 best is In the Heights.
That's my number 2 best.
I know it. This is one of the best musicals to come out in recent years.
Absolutely.
And, with the Lin-Manuel Miranda's music being top-notch as always, with a diverse and great cast, brilliant direction by John M. Chu, and excuse me, and a pretty good story as well. So my number 3 best is In the Heights.
And In the Heights is my number 2 best. This is one of the best musicals This is one of the best movie musicals I've ever seen. It's so well acted. The musical numbers were terrific. It's well directed. I love the story. I love the script. I love the cinematography. I love the editing. I love the way it was paced. There are some very good humorous moments in it, and the ending was really, really beautiful from start to finish. And I absolutely love this movie from start to finish. And all that alone is, and let me tell you, Anthony Ramos delivers one of the best performances I've seen this year. But it's Olga Mirdes. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. Who plays Abuela? That really stood out to me as like one of the best breakthrough performances of the year for me. I absolutely loved her performance in the film, and that's why it easily deserves the number 2. I absolutely loved her performance in the film, and the way they developed her character in the film was absolutely beautiful and very well done. I absolutely love this movie. It's one of the best movie musicals I've ever seen, and it easily deserves my number. And that's why In the Heights is Soren's number 3 best and my number 2 best.
My number 2 best, Nick just mentioned it, A Quiet Place Part 2. I mean, talk about a sequel that's just as good, if not even better than the first one. John Krasinski's direction is top-notch like the first movie, and the performances here are excellent. Emily Blunt and the 2 kids are fantastic, and the new characters are pretty good as well, especially Cillian Murphy.
Yes, he was terrific. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, and my number 2 is, ironically, A Quiet Place Part 2. So, Nick, your number 2 worst?
All right, number 2 worst. You had it on your list. It's higher on my list. Just when I thought the Boss Baby Family Business was the worst sequel of the year, I saw this that was somehow a bit worse, and I don't know how they did it, but they did it. My number 2 worst, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I hated this movie. I hated this movie so much. Other than Antonio Banderas and Morgan Freeman delivering some decent performances, there was nothing else that was redeeming in this movie. The story's shit. The rest of the acting is terrible. Let's replace all the charm and likability that Samuel L. Jackson, Ryan Reynolds, and Salma Hayek all had in the first film and just completely make them into three annoying, one-dimensional, bumbling idiots. Like, what kind of writing is that? And what kind of character development is that? The action is terrible. The soundtrack is terrible. The cinematography is a shaky mess. It's poorly directed. It's poorly written. The jokes fall very flat. I did not laugh once throughout the entire film, and the ending is terrible too. So yeah, overall, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard sucks, and it easily deserves the place as my number 2 worst film of the year so far list. And keep in mind, I did not hate The Hitman's Bodyguard at all. I see why some people like this movie. It's just I just thought it was all right. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, however, is one of the worst sequels I've ever seen. And like I said before, it easily deserves my number 2 worst film of the year spot.
My number 2 is legit one of the most offensive movies I've ever seen in my life. Music.
Oh!
Sia, what were you thinking?
Seriously.
What were you thinking when you wrote this movie? What were you thinking when you collaborated with Autism Speaks while writing this disaster? What were you thinking when directing Mary Zellinger to deliver this bumbling idiot disguised as an autistic person? What were you thinking when you made this idiotic, pretentious, cliched mess? I mean, the main lead is the only one. The main lead is the only reason I didn't give it a 0 out of 10. But that doesn't save this movie at all. So my number 2 is Sia's music.
Nicholas Lee. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that ice cream joke. The way and the review of why Ryan Reynolds' character is afraid of gelato ice cream was so stupid. Stupid! You're so stupid! I refuse to see music, by the way. I refuse to see that film because I do not want to give any of my time to see his most offensive portrayal of a person with autism. I do not. As for my number 1 worst film of... All right, you guys know what it is. My number 1 worst film of 2021 so far is the only 0 out of 10 I gave this year so far. And here it is. Number 1, Tom and Jerry.
You know, it's sad when that Willy Wonka crossover is good compared to this movie.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really. And the 1992 animated film is somehow more charming than this piece of shit.
Yeah, really.
The animation could have been the saving grace to the film if it wasn't for those terrible visual effects. Seriously, I feel bad for the animators because they did a good job animating Tom and Jerry, but the terrible visual effects is what ruined this movie. It's what ruined it. Not only that, the jokes fall very flat. The acting is some of the worst I've seen put to film this entire year. The story is terrible, and the messages on like, it's okay to lie and steal. It's okay to lie and steal. You won't get in trouble for that, and you won't get in trouble for that. That is a toxic message to bring out to kids like that. Seriously. And I was gonna rant on this. The Steve Bartman reference.
We all forgot about that incident years ago. Why are we still bringing it up?
Yeah, really. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Really, guys? Really? And it's made even worse when this movie feels like a Saturday. It's made even worse when this movie really feels like more of a Saturday Night Live sketch with Tom and Jerry crammed in rather than an actual Tom and Jerry movie. Yeah, in short, this movie sucks. This movie sucks. This movie sucks. This movie sucks. Fuck this movie. Tom and Jerry is easily the worst movie I've seen this year so far, without a doubt. And honestly, Eddie, yeah, he is. She is worse.
So yeah, if you know me by now, you already know my number one is Boss Baby 2. Fuck this movie. Fuck my own kids' movies. Fuck these idiots saying that it's just a kids' movie and that we shouldn't judge it for it. If you want more information, just rewind this podcast to where I talk about it. Number one, Boss Baby 2.
All right. My number one favorite film of the year so far is another documentary film, and it's one of the best documentary films I've ever seen. Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. This documentary was extraordinary from start to finish. From start to finish. And this was one of the best times I've ever had watching a movie in the theater this entire year. And no, Eddie, I will never, ever see Cosmic Sin. Ever. This documentary was absolutely terrific. As a documentary that examines the 1965 Harlem Cultural Festival, which at the time was deemed obscure by some executives, which is a stupid move on their part. It was left which caused it to be left in the basement for like 50 years. It caused it to be left in the basement for over 50 years up until this documentary was made. I'm glad this documentary exists though because it is one of the best documentary films I've ever seen. It's well directed. The interviews were very interesting to watch, and the restored footage of the concert was amazing to see. It felt like I was right there with these people, with the way they presented like the people who the famous people, the famous musicians such as like Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, The Fifth Dimension, Gladys Knight, and the Piffs, and Sly and Family Stone, and the staple singers in The Fifth Dimension, and Malia Jackson. I absolutely love this documentary. If you have Hulu or if it's at a theater near you, you need to watch this documentary right away. It's one of the best documentary films I've ever seen, and it easily deserves the spot as my number one favorite film I've seen this year so far. I love this movie. Or if you're wondering why to get Pickle and Peanut Nicholas Lee, 4 out of 10.
I haven't seen that show, so I can't say.
You're not missing much.
Sorry to sound like a broken record saying that a billion times, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Anyways, my number one favorite movie of the year so far. I'm a big fan of this trilogy. The first two movies are among two of my favorite movies, and this director's cut lives up to the hype. My number one, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Nice.
Guys, the hype is real. Unlike Justice League, with Jack Snyder's vision in favor of corny jokes, needlessly colorful visuals, and underdeveloped villains, this movie feels like the true finale to Zack Snyder's vision, and with the great characters, compelling writing, spectacular music, great visuals, less of this. You know, brunch. What is brunch? You stand in line for 12 hours for essentially lunch, and more of when this world is scorched, I will come for my great prize, and all of existence shall be mine. Yeah, that. So yeah, my number one, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
And that's our list of the best movies, the worst and best movies that Soren and I saw this year so far. And that ends tonight's podcast, folks. The reason we were originally going to do it on July 31st, but I'm going to be leaving for Florida by then, so that's why we wanted to do this podcast tonight. But it was a lot of fun doing it. I thank you all. I thank you all for watching tonight's podcast, and I want to thank Soren and Christian Frates, if you're watching, buddy, for joining us on this podcast. And guys, be sure to subscribe to Soren and Christian Frates on their YouTube channels, and the link is in the description below. Give them the love they absolutely deserve, because they are great friends to talk to and watch their content for. And yes, Nicholas Lee, I will rant on those haters when we do the August show. So yeah, it might be the most angry I've ever been, but you'll see why. So until we meet again for episode 19 of the FilmBrony Podcast. And plus, before we go, I also want to say this. We will do our best and worst films of the summer list. I think probably either at the end of August or in September. I'm not sure when we're going to be able to do it, but we'll probably let you guys know. I'll probably determine when we'll do it, when the time is right. So be prepared for that, guys. It's also gonna be a fun list to do. So yeah, until we meet again for episode 19 in August. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the month and the wonderful August. And until I see you all again for the next podcast. Have a great day. Stay safe and see you soon.
And
Bye-bye.
remember, kids, I need tacos. I need them or I will explode. That happens to me sometimes.
All right.
I laugh at you, Piggy. I laugh at you.
All right. Bye-bye.